Lovable just released one of the most insane vibe coding updates of the year. With the new Lovable Cloud and AI, I was able to build a high-level AI app without using common automation platforms like N8N or backend systems like Supabase. So today I'll show you exactly how you can build more advanced apps like these without knowing anything about no-code automation. I promise you will be surprised. So I'll show you a demo of the working app and then we'll go into the build so that you can learn it. But what you should know before that is that my name is Kaiki Rivero and I have an agency called Blue Horizon AI where we help businesses understand and implement AI solutions to boost the optimization within their business. And what I've learned is that in order for me to build solutions inside people's businesses, it's important that they understand the capabilities of the AI so that I can do that in the first place. Because of this, I have this YouTube channel where I share all of my learning so that you know exactly what is possible with AI and stay up to date. Now into the video. So I guess that today will be one of those rare occasions where the features of an app will be actually more important than the solution or the problem that it solves. Simply because we want to highlight how much Lovable has facilitated for us to make these projects and make these apps way smarter than they were before. So this here is my app here. As you can see, it is AI powered. It is a pitch generator where you can put in your ideas and you get a slide deck created for you with images, with email drafts for you to send to professionals or VCs to then invest in your product. It really covers the entire, scope of being a startup founder. This is just a random idea that I had. And so these features is going to highlight the entire app itself so that you can see what it's capable of doing. So from here, we can just click Get Started. The authentication, by the way, in creating it is a lot simpler because of Lovable Cloud. This is just one of the features. So I can click my email over here and just like that, we've signed in successfully, just loading into the page now. And you can see that I've made a few projects already. We're going to recreate one of these, the Smart CRM. And we can just call it Smart Database. And then for the project description, this is where I can put in my idea. This is where I can say, my idea is for a database. So essentially what the idea is a lead management software that is capable of providing salespeople with the admin work for everything. So think proposals, making draft follow-ups and even recovering dead leads. And it also trains people off the leads that it didn't close the first time off of the back of those calls. So this is my idea. I can click continue here. You can see that if it is loading, we are creating a project and the project has been created successfully. Now, in terms of progress, this is what it's going to do now. So all of these here, different AI steps that one is linked to the other, that will allow us to make our pitch. We can click start generation, but it looks like we got an error here in the edge function. Okay, so that didn't work for some reason because I ran out of Lovable AI credits and they're free until the 6th of October. Just had a look over the project, but that's actually completely fine. It plays into our hand quite well because I can show you the back end as well and that error handling and that sort of stuff. So meanwhile, I can just show you the result of my previous project that I made, which is exactly this one. So this is the Smart CRM that I told you about, exactly the same, or relatively the same description. And as a result, we get the entire, slide deck made for us, the whole bullet points and the entire, information filled out for us. So if I just go into next, we see that each of these images are made, specifically for the slide deck, which I thought was really, really cool. Again, this took me barely an hour to make. I'll show you the messages later. This is actually insane. Again, everything, bullet pointed. I guess a more advanced version of this would be when it fills out a specific branded template to your brand and that sort of stuff, which would be pretty cool. But I really like the images who play a really good part in terms of like the entire visualization of the entire thing. So this is Nana Banana, which is included in the package of Lovable AI. And so this generates a 10 slide, outline and plan and everything, which I can copy and paste into a really branded style. And then you have the outreach email, which is again for the VCs to get in touch with, everything regarding my, product, what I try to achieve and that sort of stuff. And this is really cool stuff. If you want to tweak it, again, I'll show you how I do this in a sec with the new update without even talking to Lovable AI. It's actually really cool. But essentially that's the app. If we go over to the Lovable project itself, you can see that I have a few prompts to actually get this going up and running. Firstly, I have my initial prompt here where I explain the core flow and everything else. I asked for GPT 4.1. Obviously, Lovable has this thing with Gemini, so I use Gemini for all of these things. I'll show you how you can integrate your own LLMs to the backend by yourself. So then it creates everything. So that was one prompt, as you saw. down here, I said this. So this is technically my second prompt. This is my third prompt. If we scroll down a little bit more, this is my fourth. Over here is my fifth. And from these changes that Lovable made, it actually started working. So you can see here at 428, I started, playing around with it. And then up until 550, I noticed that it stopped working. I said it was working before. So that was like essentially 5 or 6, prompts. You could even say 7, but everything else was implemented. So this is me just actually tweaking to my, liking. But what I'm getting at here, the whole, AI behind it stuff, which is something that you would struggle so much with using in the past. You see in my marketing video when I made the Nano Banana backend. I'll link it up here if you haven't watched it. But it's a super complex workflow. Of course, I had VO3 behind it, but this is something that you can actually integrate into Lovable so easily, and you can manage it so easily that you don't really have to worry about the AI sort of stuff in the backend and connecting any nodes anymore. You essentially just talk to Lovable, and then the second part of what I'm going to show you here is actually tweaking Lovable Cloud. This makes it so you have everything in one place and you don't need literally any other platforms to do what you want to do. So over here you have Lovable Cloud, and you can see the database for the projects. You have the users that come in, the storage if they have any storage. So for example, if I were to upload a specific template for the user to save, and then every time the AI writes, say, pitch deck, it goes over that template, that would be stored over here in the storage. And then obviously the edge functions. Now this is really cool. I want to jump into this first because one, I can show you exactly the area that I got for my Lovable credits. And two, you can see how you can edit it further to expand the application. So all of these are different requests to different LLMs for different parts of the process. We have the generate images, for example, for Nano Banana, and then the general outline was made for the Gemini 2.5 Flash, and this is where I got the error because it was the first stage of the entire, workflow. So if we go over here, we can actually see these logs, and it's good that I got this error because I can show you guys this. And if we go to view logs, we can see exactly what was wrong with that execution. So over here, just before I tried it, we had that error, and it said the message over here, insufficient credits. So I'm a guy who isn't technical, right? But for me, this is so intuitive that I can just look at these logs and know exactly what's going wrong, and then simply tell Lovable to have a look at specifically that area. So because of these logs, I can see exactly which part of the actual application is, wrong or needs fixing, and then I just tell Lovable to fix it. I don't need to tell Lovable to do the whole overview of the entire, code base and all that sort of stuff, and then plan out, a step-by-step formula to then fix it. I can literally look at this and understand it without knowing how to code myself. Now that's for the first part of managing LLMs. The second part is this secrets tab over here, which if you click, you see that you have a Lovable API key. Now this is what Lovable and Gemini are using to bring Gemini as the go-to backend AI for this sort of system. Obviously, I ran out of credits, but if I were to do some sort of Perplexity node or integration or something like that, then I can just go in here and then type in Perplexity. And then obviously over here, I could have my Perplexity API key. Now, what I recommend you to do, if that's the route that you're going to take, then you can just go to Open Router. You have the same concept of everything being in one, place, but Open Router is exactly that. It's one API that can access all LLMs, and you can just tell Lovable to tweak the requests of Open Router to different LLMs for different kind of requests that you want to make inside the app. So I think this gives you so much control over it, again, without knowing how to code it, without actually needing to understand that much about AI, because the integration part of it is just taking care of Lovable itself. So coming back over here in these tabs, you have the database, and this is where you see a lot of, similarity between this and Supabase. It's almost like this is the front end for the Supabase in the back. And you can see exactly, for example, the projects that I made before. This one is the one that we just tested out and it didn't work. But you see exactly what was completed, what was a draft. And again, you have the whole visibility inside of Lovable, which is just great. You have the users. Obviously, I just have myself over here. And then in the overview, you have access to a little bit of information for each of these tabs, which is just great. Over here in the plus sign, you can view specifically in the analytics side of things. So for example, how many users you're tracking to come into the app, the speed of the app itself, the security side of things. If you want it to be displayed in the tabs over here, you just click this pin, and then just like that, you can go to security, and then these only become accessible once you actually publish the app itself. But once you do, you have access to all of this information. Very, very simple and easy, and I think it extends beyond what Supabase had already provided us. And so yeah, I think this is great. One more thing that I wanted to show you, for example, is if we go into the request for one of these AIs. Before, I had so much trouble locating what the prompt was, which is one of the main reasons I did this all on n8n, is because I would have control of the prompt and what I would edit afterwards as well. Right now, you can simply go to view code for the specific request that is logged within Lovable Cloud. If you click view code, you can easily see and track what the prompt is over here. And then that's exactly what you edit over here. Or if you're struggling, then you can just highlight this for Lovable and then tell it what parts of the prompt you want to edit. But I think editing straight onto here gives you so much control over the application without telling Lovable to do anything. All in all, this is where you need a little bit more understanding, but I think it's cool for my, particular skill set in coding. At least I understand it when I see it. I can see that this is a request for Gemini 2.5 Flash, and then this is the message I'm sending to it. So for me to see this and be able to edit it, it's great as well. But at the end of the day, it's all well and good you're watching these videos, you're understanding what this AI can do, but if you haven't started vibe coding and you don't understand enough, I strongly advise you to just get on these platforms, start building stuff, and start familiarizing yourself, because it's getting easier and easier for you to start. This video is simply a call to action for you to do that. There's amazing features in here, there's amazing things that you can build. I'm definitely going to be milking this and posting videos about what I build with this. I hope that you build some really cool stuff with it as well. But essentially, that's the end of the video today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you understand a little bit more about this, and I'll see you in the next one.